Alrighty, US history, what is up? Alright, we are on day 4. Hopefully this is the last day of NTI. Once again, this is what Google Classroom should look like. Here, I'll go back. Alright, you have all the US histories. I'm just going to pick a random one, and it should be... So make sure we get these attendance things done so they can account for you. Yesterday should have been relatively easy. It was just working on the cartoon analysis and the speeches. I made a video on how to work on the speeches, and then attendance, and then yesterday was literally just read the slides. So now I'm going to go over the slides and then introduce this new assignment, appeasement during World War II. Alright, so you just go to here and you click on here and it will look like this. Okay, so let's blow this up. Okay, warm up number 47. So looking at the map, which is right here, what countries were still democratic in 1940? So we can clearly see that dictatorships by 38 are purple. Well, dictatorships are not the same as democratic, so you can eliminate all the purple. So not Germany, not Poland, Soviet Union, all these countries, Italy. What are still democratic? So if their democracies dismantled by dictatorships between 38 and 40, they are no longer democratic. So we can get rid of the pink. So it can't be France, or Czechoslovakia, Austria, Norway, Denmark, the Dutch, the Belgians. So what countries are still on the map? The green. So Ireland is an acceptable answer. Great Britain, Sweden, Finland, Switzerland. Notice there's an S right here, countries. So you can't just name one. It has to be any of the green countries. Ireland, Great Britain, Sweden, Finland, Switzerland. Now, what country was most responsible for this? Well, remember, think back to the first slideshow. We talked about 5 dictators. So we can already eliminate the one in Japan because they are far away and not even on this map. Spain has a civil war with themselves, so that's not happening. So it's either Soviet Union, Germany, or Italy. Now we remember Italy focused all their attention on Africa, so they're not involved. And then Soviet Union was too busy with Stalin industrializing and killing off anyone who disagreed with him. So it wasn't them. Germany, Hitler. Hitler was the one causing all the mischief. Okay? So Germany is the correct answer. And how do you think England felt about this? Well, look, England is literally and figuratively on an island. They look to the west or the east, and they see Norway and Denmark is taken over. They look to the southeast, they see Germany is the big bad wolf, and they look south and they see their buddy France is taken over. So they're kind of alone, afraid, scared, spooked. Any of those would work. Now, here we go. We are in a new unit, as you may know. Are democratic principles worth fighting for at home and abroad? I'm just going to go over some new stuff, and then once again, this is just context to give you an idea of how World War II came about. And then next week we'll definitely we'll talk more of America. Now, this is a political cartoon about what? So kind of look at all the clues to kind of figure out what you think this cartoon is about. If you said the Treaty of Versailles, you are right. Yes, what is the Treaty of Versailles? It is the thing that officially ends World War I. It blames everything on Germany. The Big Five were invited, or the Big Four plus Japan. Everyone forgets that. So the Big Four being Italy, France, Britain, US, and then Japan is also there, but they get the cold shoulder, and we will also talk about that. Germany gets upset, and we talked about this on the last slide, and they begin to get rid of their democracy. Hindenburg dies. Hitler is in charge due to the Reichstag fire decree. They become a totalitarian government, which means they have total control over everything. Make sure you know what that word means. All right, next, fascism. A lot of you think you know what fascism is, but you really don't. So, Why don't I enlighten you? First off, it's a political system, just like capitalism or communism. All right. They have a single person at the top or an authoritative figure. So one person is in charge of everything. And the big thing you need to know, it's super nationalistic, meaning it's very focused in on nationalism. It promotes nationalism, has extreme pride for your country. Those crazy people in like the World Cup where they paint their faces. And once again, nationalism is you love your country and you hate others against your country, meaning they don't like people who disagree with them. And who disagrees with fascism the most? Communist. Now notice Germany and Italy are both fascists, whereas Russia is not. Russia is more communist. And then Japan is more militaristic. Ooh. All right. Next. Now, Hojo, the other dictator we talked about way over in Japan, he invades China over here, as you can see in the red. However, we have the League of Nations. The League of Nations is the organization that promotes peace. And they make sure that no one does bad things. So when someone invades, they step in. And so Japan takes on Manchuria. Everyone looks. And what's the League of Nations do? Nothing. Now, a few years go by, and Mussolini's like, I want to take over Africa. I want to get Ethiopia. And then everyone looks at the League of Nations. League of Nations, what are you going to do? Nothing. And so now Hitler's like, oh, well, if Italy can do it and Japan can do it, why can't I do it? Now, just to be clear, in the Treaty of Versailles, it was extremely clear and explicit, in all caps and underlined, do not take the Rhineland. You are not allowed to have the Rhineland. This made Germany upset. Now, what is the significance of the Rhineland? It's this little area right here. It's a buffer zone between France, Belgium, and Germany. Before in World War I, this is like their buffer zone to give each side space, and it's also where Germany's military bases are, and where a lot of the fighting happened in World War I. And so Germany's like, well, if Italy can invade and Japan can invade, can we invade? And so they invaded, and the League of Nations says nothing. Now, Germany looks south and says, well, they didn't really do anything. Wonder if we can do this. And so they begin to annex Austria. If you remember that word, annex means to add. Okay, so they're trying to add Austria. This is called Anschluss. Once again, you might not need to know that, but they are invading primarily to, one, expand. Remember, fascism equals strong, strict nationalism. And so they're trying to form a, quote, greater Germany. They're trying to spread the Aryan race, and they view Austria as an essential piece to Germany. Remember, in the Treaty of Versailles, Germany had a lot of land taken away, and so a lot of Germans got stuck in Austria-Hungary, and so they're kind of just reuniting. It really was not, there was no real bloodshed, and League of Nations says nothing. So now Germany is getting more and more land, and now who's next? Well, this guy, Czechoslovakia. And before they look, Britain and France are like, whoa, 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 whoa. We see what you're doing here. Let's pump the brakes. And so the Munich conference. Munich is in Germany, okay? And it's with Great Britain, France, Hitler, and Mussolini. Now, Britain and France don't want a war. They remember World War I and they're like, this was terrible. We don't want another war. And so they're willing to do whatever it takes to not have war. And that is called appeasement. Doing something, giving in to someone so they won't do something bad, right? It's when a mom is at a grocery store with their crying kid, and the mom gives the crying kid throwing tantrum a lollipop so the kid will be quiet, right? It's kind of a band-aid, right? You're appeasing the little kid so he does not cause any more fuss at the grocery store. It's a temporary fix towards a long-term problem. The mom is trying to avoid the war. She's trying to avoid the awful trip at the grocery store. That is appeasement. You really, really need to know that, okay? Anywho, so Germany says, okay, you don't want us to go to war, so what can you give us? And so Britain and France say, you can take this little slither. This land has tons of resources to build tanks and military weapons, but don't take Czechoslovakia. Leave them alone. And so Britain and Hitler's like, deal. I'll gladly take a land with tons of resources so I can build my army. So they sign an agreement on a piece of paper, and the British guy flies in on his private airplane, lands in Britain, and he claims that we are in peace of our time. They celebrate, everyone's happy, and the world is going to be a better and safer place. And this is a great video. It's only like 2 minutes long. Highly recommend it, but I don't have time in this recap. All right, so 6 months later, Germany takes Czechoslovakia. So not only did Germany take all the resources in this Sudeten land, but now they take Czechoslovakia too. And guess who does nothing? The League of Nations and Britain and France all do nothing. All right. And see, here you can see a timeline, right? Where they remilitarize the Rhineland, they reactivate Germany's military, then they annex Austria, they add Austria to Germany, then they take Sudetenland, take all the natural resources out, bring it to the Rhineland, and then they take Czechoslovakia. Now, as you can see, the next one on the list is Poland. So Poland is sitting like a lame duck, and they make a deal with Russia. So here's Stalin, and here is a diplomatic German named Ribbentrop, and they make a deal. Say, we won't attack each other. Let's just take over Poland. And so that's what they do. So Germany gets this side, Russia gets this side. Oh, Soviet Union, my bad. USSR takes this side of Poland. Germany, the greater Germany, remember, nationalism, takes this side, and Poland is gone in roughly 3 weeks. And guess what the League of Nations does? Yep. Now, because of this, Great Britain is furious that his little piece of paper, oh no, a dictator lying? Surely not. So, after Poland is invaded, Great Britain declares war, and World War II is officially on. This is the exact moment in which World War II begins, is the invasion of Poland on the European theater, that is. You can make an argument it was when Japan invaded China, because that's what started it all, right? But this is, for this class's purpose, the thing that began World War II was the invasion of Poland. So, do you think appeasement was a mistake? And then here's a nice little timeline for you. All right, on Google Classroom, it will be located right here under appeasement before World War II, right? I conjured up some reading. So all you got to do is read, annotate using the highlighter tool, and then there's a couple questions. I was trying to be nice, and I gave you a couple multiple choice questions, all right? just work on that, and then I will hopefully see you all on Monday.